The News Channel 5 Investigates team put together a special talking about the intersection between mental health and the criminal justice system, because what we saw was that a number of people were charged with crimes and then found mentally incompetent, released back on the streets, and then they would end up being charged once again.
Shocking to report the same thing over and over again. We started looking at mental health issues. When you start looking at mental health, you look at mental incompetence.
That term, we hear it all the time, right? In TV and the movies and all that. But I always just assume that once you're found mentally incompetent, they take you to some doctor or some facility, and that's where you're going to be, because you're not going to be out. Apparently, that's not the case. If we don't have beds and we don't have the facilities to accommodate you, or we don't even have the money to pay the people that would help you, well, then you're back out on the streets.
The system is not equipped to handle people with serious mental illness. And there's no one way, and it doesn't seem like any of the ways are working.
You know, people who were found mentally incompetent, and then for one reason or another, they just didn't have the resources to keep these people or to send them to where they needed to go to get help. So they go back out on the streets.
And so what you have is this constant cycle.
January 7th, 2021, Brown was arrested at Centennial Hospital after sitting inside the hospital lobby, refusing to leave. January 31st at Centennial, he'd been medically discharged but refused to leave. He told officers, "Just take me to jail."
Look at where he's arrested over and over. He's arrested at hospitals. He keeps going into a hospital, looking for help, and keeps getting arrested for trespassing. I have multiple arrests here from Larry Brown at hospital after hospital. Here he's arrested at the Mental Health Cooperative. He's arrested at the Crisis Treatment Center. So he's going, asking for help, and then he's getting arrested. It highlights once again that there is not enough help available for people that are suffering these issues.
We've heard from a number of people, whether they're attorneys, judges, law enforcement, victim right advocates, all of these people, or the victims themselves. We heard from people who said, this is one of the most challenging parts of the criminal justice system that we're facing right now.
It's definitely a crisis. There's no question about that.
There are people who we have deemed not responsible for the crimes that they commit, but we don't know what to do with them. In a lot of these cases, we're talking about Nashville not having the capacity to accommodate these people. Nashville is a pretty big city. What happens when we're talking about small town USA here in Tennessee? What we've said over and over again is that this comes down to resources. This comes down to lawmakers prioritizing this stuff and saying, you know, if we're going to pass a Jillian's Law, where if you are found mentally incompetent for some serious crimes, you have to go to a facility to get help. Well, if you're going to pass something like that, you got to have the money to back it up. You got to have the resources to make sure that people can actually get this help. And right now, the experts are telling us it's just not there. Or at the very least, it's not being prioritized to meet the demand that we have right now. We will continue to do these stories because, as my colleague Ben Hall said, this is one of the issues of our time.